Welcome to the Otherworld Watch channel, where darkness thrives and the pages of haunted literature crackle to life. Tonight, we journey beyond the veil into tales born of terror and twisted imagination. Prepare yourself for stories that linger long after the last word. Today, we step into the eerie world of The Turn of the Screw, a tale that has haunted readers for over a century. Written by Henry James in 1898, this Gothic horror novella is one of literature's greatest ghost stories, one that blurs the line between the supernatural and psychological terror. Henry James was a master of psychological horror. The Turn of the Screw was first published as a serialized novella in Collier's Weekly, later released as a book. It quickly became famous for its unsettling ambiguity. Are there real ghosts lurking in the story, or is it all in the mind of the governess? That question has fueled debates for generations, making this novel an enduring masterpiece of horror. The Turn of the Screw has inspired numerous adaptations in film and television, each interpreting its eerie tale in a unique way. But one of the most popular modern adaptations came in 2020, when Netflix released The Haunting of Bly Manor, a chilling reimagining of Henry James's classic work. The series, while taking creative liberties, preserved the haunting atmosphere and psychological depth of the original, introducing a new generation to the terror of Bly Manor's ghosts. Our tale begins on a cold winter night, where a group of guests sits by the fire, listening to a chilling manuscript. A man named Douglas reveals a disturbing story, a manuscript written by a former governess recounting her terrifying experience at a secluded estate. As he begins reading, we are transported back in time to Bly Manor. The governess, whose name we never learn, is sent to Bly Manor to care for two orphaned children, Miles and Flora. Their wealthy uncle, who has taken them in after their parents' deaths, gives one strict instruction: she must never contact him, no matter what happens. She is to handle everything alone. The estate is magnificent but eerily silent. The housekeeper, Mrs. Groves, welcomes her, but something feels off. The children are beautiful and well-mannered, almost too perfect, as if they're hiding something. Strange things begin happening. At first it's subtle, an uneasy feeling of being watched, cold drafts in locked rooms, distant murmurs in the silence of the halls. But soon, the governess begins to see them, figures lurking in the distance. One evening, she spots a man standing high on the tower, his expression blank, yet disturbingly intense, as if studying her. His presence is unnatural, unmoving, and when she rushes to investigate, he is gone. Then, near the lake, she sees a woman in black, her form barely distinguishable in the mist. She stands motionless at the water's edge, her gaze fixed on something unseen beneath the surface. The governess calls out, but the woman does not move, until, in the blink of an eye, she vanishes, leaving only the rippling water behind. Panicked, the governess describes these apparitions to Mrs. Groves, expecting skepticism. Instead, she is met with something far worse: horror. Mrs. Groves recognizes them immediately: Peter Quint, the former valet, and Miss Jessel, the previous governess. But there's one problem: they're both dead. And yet they are here. The governess becomes convinced that the spirits of Quint and Jessel are trying to possess the children. Flora begins whispering to unseen figures. Miles speaks in an unnerving, adult-like manner. The governess suspects that the ghosts are manipulating them, corrupting their innocence. But is she protecting them, or losing her mind? One fateful night, Flora is found by the lake, speaking to someone who isn't there. The governess tries to make her admit she sees Miss Jessel's ghost, but the child screams and collapses into hysterics. Mrs. Groves, now afraid for Flora's sanity, decides to take her away, leaving the governess alone with Miles. That night, the governess confronts Miles, demanding to know what dark force is controlling him. He finally whispers Peter Quint's name. At that moment, the ghost appears in the window, staring hungrily at the boy. In a desperate act, the governess pulls Miles into her arms, shielding him from the spirit. But as she clutches him, Miles suddenly stops breathing. His heart has failed. The governess looks down in horror. Was he freed from the ghost's grasp, or did she, in her paranoia, squeeze the life out of him herself? The story ends in chilling silence, leaving us to wonder, were there ever ghosts at all? Or was it all in the governess's mind? Henry James crafted a masterpiece of psychological horror, a story where terror comes not from the ghosts themselves, but from the uncertainty of what's real. Was the governess a savior, or a deluded woman driven to madness? The Turn of the Screw remains one of the most haunting and debated ghost stories in literary history, a tale that proves sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones in our minds. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of literature's most iconic Gothic tales. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more literary adventures. Till then, stay curious and stay brave.